quick before I gotta go pick up my kid from school and talk a little bit about PPP, because the PPP, as you probably have heard by now, has been funded for round one and round two again. And in addition to that, there are some different things you got to think about when it comes to applying for this, applying for forgiveness and maintaining those records going forward. So just wanted to kind of jump on and give you a couple of tips and tricks and stuff for that. One, the funding portal for the SBA is going to be open starting as of Monday. Now, smaller institutions and CDFIs are first in line because they really wanted to focus on making sure that the smaller businesses got funding with this additional round of PPP. So first thing first, if you did not apply for the first round of PPP, you are eligible. If you qualify for that round, you are eligible to apply for round one this time as well. So you need to make sure that you have your payroll records. If you had employees, if you did not have employees, then they are most likely going to be looking at your 2019 tax return. So make sure you have that available. They are going to be looking at your net income. So I want to make sure that you had a net income, and then that's the amount that they're going to use to calculate the PPP funding. So if you operated at a loss last year, or in 2019, not last year anymore, right? Because now we're in 2021. If you operated in 2020, 2019, then you most likely are not going to be eligible for the PPP. There may be some additional stipulations as the SBA rolls out different verification. They have not released the application forms yet, so there are still some questions as to exactly how everything is going to work, but that was the general rule with them before. If you had a loss, then you cannot apply for PPP. You would not get any funding because basically it was to supplement what you would normally be paying yourself. And so if you're operating at a loss, that means you're not paying yourself anything. If you had employees, they're going to be using that information as the calculation for the PPP. Now, the big change for PPP round two, so if you had round one and you got funded and you used your funds on payroll the way you were supposed to, you would be eligible for round two. Hopefully, I'm kind of seeing like a lag on my side. Hopefully, everybody can hear me okay who's watching this. But if not, if there's some kind of technical or you can't hear me very well, please let me know and I'll re-record this later on because it's important information. But basically, PPP round two, you have to have you have to show, and we're not exactly sure how that's going to show, but as of right now, we're going to be looking at financial statements, so your profit and loss statements. You have to show a 25% decrease in any of the first or second, third, or fourth quarters of 2020 compared to 2019. So that means, say, in 2020, quarter two, you had 25% less sales than in quarter two of 2019, you would be eligible to apply for PPP round two. They're calling it draw two. PPP 3.0 is the application term that I'm hearing from most of the banks. So just kind of as an FYI on terms, that is what that looks like, but that is what it has to be. You have to have an experience of loss in sales compared to 2019 from 2020, and then you would be eligible to apply for PPP draw two. So you want to make sure that you're looking at your financial records, make sure you have your financial records organized. If you're one of those people that wait until the end of the year or the beginning of next year to get your books in order for the year, hop on that because it's a first come, first serve basis for PPP. So when the funds run out, they run out and they are gone. And there's not anything that you can really do about that. So hop on that if you need help getting your books in order for 2020 in order to be able to evaluate this. Or if you know that you had a drop in revenue let us know. Sidekick Accounting, we do cleanup and backdating services for people. We can do it as a one-time function or as a function to get your things in order, and then ongoing services going forward to keep your books up to date. So let me know. I'm available to help. I also posted the link if you are looking for a consult. In terms of the COVID relief and the different options that are out there, you can text consult to 414-310-7689 in order to set up a time where we can chat a little bit more about these different options and what might be a good fit for you or if you're eligible. The other piece that I wanted to make sure that I emphasize is in regards to the other part of the funding that they did as part of the COVID relief, which is auditing. They funded a huge amount of money to go towards auditing PPP. So what does that mean for you? That means that you need to make sure you have your information in order. You need to make sure that you have your records accurate. You need to make sure you have the proper documentation in place for the next 7 years, because that's how far back they can audit. You want to make sure you have that in place. And one of the huge reasons why they did this was because they changed it, where before it was you were going to have to exclude the expenses you use PPP funds to pay for. That's no longer the case. The case now is that you can include those expenses and you do not have to include PPP as income. So basically, in the accounting tax world, we call that a double dip. Proper, accurate records in place that need to be in place, because they're going to be doing audits. We know how that's going to look, how many there's going to be. In past years, just in far tax goes, they've really significantly decreased audits. And so I think that's kind of the general expectation. However, this is a new thing, and I don't think we should assume anything. So the best rule of thumb is if you have if you got PP and you use those funds accurately, you just make sure your documents are in place properly. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that as more information comes out as far as guidance on those things. But just wanted to make everybody aware. So make sure you're looking out for that. Make sure you evaluate your financial records to see if you are eligible for some of those funding, and make sure that you stay tuned for more information or book a consult with me about PPP. So thanks, and hopefully this was helpful, and I will talk to you all later. Thanks. Bye.